Okay, so because the thermostat housing on the tractor was in bad shape, these often get very badly ate with coolant over the years. Same with the Ferguson 20 diesel, you usually end up having to replace them, just like I had to on that project there before Christmas. There was no way of just getting them to seal. They were too badly ate along here, too thin and all of that. And the antifreeze and stuff like that does eat them. This is a really good one that I have spare here. It even has the plug for the temperature gauge sender. And it's all in good nick, so you can leave that in, or you can screw it out and buy yourself a new temperature gauge with the wax kind of wire that goes in there, and the sender unit goes in there. So that's good. So normally what you get with these as well is it's usually broken off. So the plug is gone, there's a bit of a temperature sender stuck in there, rusted. It's all in here then, rusted, and you have a bit of broken wire there. And that's what was on the thermostat housing that was on the tractor, except it was cracked along here and very brittle. So this is really, really good condition, and this cast piece here is in savage condition as well. Sometimes they're really hard to seal here with your hose because they're so badly pitted. So this isn't too bad at all, especially considering you can bring your hose into this bit here that's a lot better. You know, you should get a grand seal on that, and we'll be able to clean it up. So I like that. So what I'm going to do first is just going to replace the sandpaper on my my kind of sanding block here. So there's holes drilled in this. It's just a household chopboard. The wife hasn't missed it from the kitchen yet. It's been out here for about 2 years, so say nothing. It wasn't being used, and I thought it's just the right width and length to get a bit of sanding done on parts. So I'll just screw on a bit of coarse sandpaper here, because I find coarse is better. This is 80 grit, so it makes light work of some of them harder the hard metal parts. So I suppose the best thing to do is to try and get this pulled straight as possible, so there's no creases in it. So we might just have to widen this hole a little bit there to get a bit of leverage on the job here. If it's not straight, it can be a little bit of a nuisance. So that's fairly pulled firm enough there, tightly enough. Poke it with your pick, and then screw in your screw. An awful handy piece of kit. I even heard lads managing to skim their cylinder heads with big wide sandpaper kind of strips. Now, whether or not you'd be so savage, accurate or not is anyone's interpretation, but I can tell you one thing, I could see them flattening an awful lot of parts, that's for sure. The likes of your thermostat housing and stuff like that, it's ideal for it. Just poke around a bit there till you find the hole, and then with your screw, because the bit that was on it there was on it there a long time, and it was a fairly coarse piece of sandpaper at one stage, but it does get worn and does get dirty. There you go. And the likes of that is ideal for the likes of these aluminium housings over and back once you clean them up first. Otherwise you just end up getting them fairly dirty fairly quick. I'm just going to trim off the bit that we don't need. Said I'd record this just in case it gives you an idea for making one yourself. I tell you, it's strong paper. Ideal for your carburetor and stuff, and that's what I want to just bring back here now in a few minutes as well. that carb that we've done for the project. I want to run it on there because this is just, it's lost it's worn. It will be ideal for certain jobs, but it's not ideal anymore for the likes of your flanges and stuff like that, your housings. This will really speed things up. So I want to focus today just on getting this housing tidied up a little bit. It's, as I said, it's in really good nick. Something you don't always see with these. They're usually very crumbly and brittle, and they're full of that white dust. And so a little, they can be awkward enough to hold in the vise. That's a good pinch point there. I might even shot blast it, I think, just to help give it a good clean. And but before we shot blast, it's always best to knock off some of the heavy dirt. So what I like about this particular part is it's not very badly chewed up at all. So your thermostat sits down in this little recess there, and as you can see, apart from there, and even at that, it's not that bad. It's it's a really good casting. So there is UNC threads in there. If there's any bother with them, if they're a bit brittle or anything like that, we can retread, put a nut of a underneath there and put an actual bolt through it. But they look really good. It's just, I think, like the parts, I got this with a lot of parts, and to be honest with you, the tractor, I think the man I got it off, his father said that it had a cracked block, and he took everything off the tractor and he never put it back together with a better block. So it was sitting for donkey's years. So that's after saving this, I think. I think you can buy these new, but I'm fairly sure if they're like the 20 diesel one, they're not the greatest fit, and you usually end up having to file holes and all of that, and widen them and move holes for tanks, petrol tanks, and you know yourself. So if we can work with this, we will. And likewise, underneath here, this flange here is in excellent condition as well. Really good. Normally inside there you do not see that sort of, you know, nice clean casting. It's usually pure crumbly white kind of stuff. You can see a little bit, this one little speck of it there. It's usually destroyed and that stuff. So this is a really good quality part. And a lot of the time as well, these end up cracking as well, where people have put in the wrong metric bolts and they burst there and there, and you never get them then to bolt properly. So this is a survivor. So it's I'm lucky to have it now, to be honest, which is a great spare. yeah, so I'm just trying to make my mind up now whether or not when I shot blast it to hell and yeah, so I suppose we'll just give it a quick rub on this paper here and see if it, I feel it's going to, look, it's really, can't get over the quality of it. So maybe I might need to hold this, ideally. So, yeah. It's going to clean up lovely. Obviously the high points are usually here where it's pulling. Won't take a whole lot now to get that A1. Starting to clean up lovely there. What you do with that then is get a plastic kind of a brush, or just tap it and it'll clear it, clean it. Already we're starting to clean up. You can go a little bit more, take the likes of that out. Yeah, starting to take it out already. So I'm not sure if the owner's going to want this part. I know he needed it at some point, but he's only asked me to get the engine running. Like I said, I'd have a look through my parts and see what I have. And this is definitely benefit from a shot blasting in there. It's just a little bit greasy, but it's a really good casting. So we'll just see if we can clean it up. Now, turns out that we don't need this. I don't have to fit this obviously to get the engine running, but this work won't be in vain anyway, because I'm sure someone will want it, or if I end up with a Ferguson 20 myself, TVO petrol, this will be of use. Likewise, that can get the same treatment there on the paper, just to get a quick look and see what sort of level is on it. Straight away. Really does speed things up, this. Yeah, I was taking a bit of the sandpaper off it, alright, but it's it's worth it when you see how clean this ends up. So it needs a bit more, all right, but I think shot blasting inside there, and we've just changed the wire brush to the kind of the long slim one, and it'll just clean up in there a little bit, and we won't do a whole lot more with it. As I said, my job isn't to be going getting cooling systems working on this. It is to get the engine running, and then for the owner to make up the decision how far else he wants to go in the rebuild, restoration, whatever you want to call it. It's all going to be a matter of playing it by ear. Yeah, that's perfectly usable. Shot blast, you want to be fussy inside there, but get some loose stuff off, and I might just actually go and do that now to have it done. I'll give it a very quick shot blast in there. It's not perfect, just wanted to see what we're working with, and I have to say, some great nick. So that goes onto your cylinder head, and that then goes on there, and your thermostat goes in there. So we have a thermostat on the way as well, because they're so cheap. So yeah, that's how it looks. So we drive over the cylinder head. So Shannon and Cliggan, that's the cylinder head there. Up she goes onto there. Okay, the holes are lined up there, and then that goes on there like that. So the 35 Ferguson, right, not the massive Ferguson 35, the 35 did have slightly different thermostat housing on it, but what was fitted to this tractor, well, it was in the parts, was a Ferguson 20 thermostat housing on a Ferguson 20 radiator. So they're a lot easier to source, of course. They're made for a lot longer than the gold belly 35. So I think it's one of the bolts. It looks a little bit long with it. No, it's perfect. So I just want to make sure everything treads in there okay. Oh yeah, that's perfect. A little bit tight there, so we'll just get a 1/2 inch and run it in. I really do have to get a set of taps for UNC taps. That's going to thread in lovely. So that's that side there, perfect. We'll just check the other side now and see what's happening. I'm sure we're able to work with this now. So I'm going to actually put that back there. And fit another bolt to the other side, just to make sure everything lines up, that if we do go ahead with this, that we're not going to run into any issues, any fibing, any problems. So that's that screwing in lovely and easy. So we'll go and get another bolt there, and we'll see what the crack is on the other side. Okay, so I just picked the bolt out of my box of bolts. They're identical, length and all of that. So the spring washer should be on it, and we'll just see here. If this is too long, I'll no, it's not. I don't think so. We'll just have a quick. I have a lot of these UNCs, so if it's no, it's the same length as the other one. That's what we want. So we'll just do the same crack here. We'll just run it down through it and make sure that all the holes line up and everything. The socket is just sending it a little bit crooked there because there's not a whole lot of space for a socket. But look, once we get it started, we'll be able to use the socket then. Be nice to have all of this, just the preliminary work done, that if we do go and use it, that we're ready to rock straight away. We're not faffing about with cleaning up parts and stuff like that, so we'll just run it down the spanner. It's a little bit slow, but we get it down a certain distance, then we'll be able to work away with the socket, I think. So maybe go for a metric, just a little bit tight in there, so if we go with a metric, we'll just get a little bit more space maybe. Yeah. I want to make sure everything's screwing down nice and easy. Yeah, we're starting to come up through underneath there. Lovely. So that is that, and another thing I can do since we're looking at it is just see about these, see if we can work them. That is actually on backwards. I think, yeah, it is. That doesn't matter. We're going to be taking it off again because there's no gaskets. I'm just trying to check and see that everything's going to work. So we'll get two short UNC 1/2 inches and we'll fire them in there and make sure threads are good in there, and if they are, at least we can have this ready for fitting. Okay, so I've just got my box of bolts there, and just going to chance. These are a little bit long. I just want to make sure they're not too long. I want them to be as long as possible because they'll catch as much thread in that alloy housing, and that'll make it stronger. So as long as it, yeah, that's going to be perfect. And it's just see the bottom of the bolt there. So as the man says, the one we want, and the same with the inside there. So that'll be the strongest, get the strongest grip on the casting, and it'll reduce the chance of it leaking. So that is happy days there now. It's annoying me that I put on the bloody thermostat housing backwards, but sure, look, doesn't matter. At least we know now that once you use this part, it's just a matter of fitting gaskets. They'll all come in the headset, the gaskets for this. Bepco headset is on the way, and I find Bepco seems to be the best quality in aftermarket parts. So, and I find the gaskets are they're real thick and strong. And okay, so that is ready to go. And of course, what I like about this, apart from the quality of the casting, is the plug, the bung there for the temperature sender is still there. You put your 11/16 socket on there and give that you take that off, and you can put in a new one. Sometimes, as I said, the temperature sender themselves is left in there rusted. It's all rusted in there, and you have an awful job getting it out. So at least that's in. These always come out because you have two different metals and they don't seem to corrode as much. And because this casting is such good nick, I would say there's a very, very, very good chance that's going to come out no problem at all, and the threads would be A1. So that is a lovely, lovely spare part to have. Very happy with that, very impressed with it. If we need it. We won't need it to get the engine running. We will need it for cooling system. So it's just one of them bits that, you know, similar to the water pump mountain bracket housing, whatever you want to call it. We spent a good while cleaning all that up, getting everything all right for fitting, and that's one thing we can do because we didn't do it there now. And we have our new bit of sandpaper. We can just get that flattened on our sandpaper, have that ready for go. So that sorted there. It's going to take a bit more. It's high there, high there. Now we're talking. Now we're nearly there. So the difference, fresh sandpaper, right? So a bit more of that. That is good to go. Yeah, it is really worn that already. But it doesn't matter, that's what it's for. It makes life a lot easier. So we've one. I thought they didn't have a spring washer, that does. I'll keep them upside down. Okay. I might just give all of these a dart in the drill because the UNC thread, being a coarse thread, can get fairly choked up with dirt. So just a quick rub of the wire brush does wonders. Takes seconds, makes a massive difference when putting it back together. Safe to say I go through a fair amount of these wire brushes. This one here now is well and truly clogged up, so give him a good go there. Now I'll take off the spring washer. Was it shorter? Just like that. Lovely. Lovely parts. Okay, so we'll all save time. We have our electrics done as of yesterday evening's video. For anyone that hasn't watched on the earlier ones, you'll see that I had some issues getting out some of these valves, and of course got some advice and it worked fantastically. So they're all back in. Lovely. Okay, so that is going to be the video on the thermostat housing. Obviously haven't fitted yet because we're waiting on gaskets, but for anyone that has one of them, that might just give a little bit of an idea on how to flatten the surfaces if you have the likes of that and you get your 80 grit or whatever grit you want, but go coarse, because it doesn't belong losing its coarseness when you compare that there to here. You can see already, but the time that it saves. So I'm going to leave it there for the thermostat housing, and sure we'll see where we'll go next.